Good morning. It is what time? 7:08 a.m. on Monday, May 14th, 2018. I am Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So, what should I talk about? Well, one thing that I can talk about is a computer game called Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, which I had because I, follow D&D circles lately. This was a game that came up because although it is not in and of itself, uh, really anything like Dungeons and Dragons, it is D&D themed. The Forgotten Realms is sort of like the primary world setting of Dungeons and Dragons official modules and stuff like that. And so this is basically an idle game where, you can kind of click on and do stuff to make it happen faster. Otherwise, things kind of keep just ticking along by themselves. And it's basically the idea is you've assembled a party of adventurers and they go on little adventures and they fight things and level up and so on. Which, those can be fun enough. And I had it, because I follow D&D circles, it would come up here and there. And I decided to check it out yesterday, and I was actually a little bit surprised just because hearing about it only, I had kind of just assumed that it was a phone game, but apparently not. It's on Steam. And so I set that up and I played a bunch of it yesterday. Although I should add that when I say played a bunch, some of that time involves actually actively engaging with it, and some of it allows is letting it run and just tick along and do its thing while I, do other stuff. And I would say for a game of that type, it is free to play. It's pretty well done. It held my attention more than I would have expected. Although I don't know how much more I am going to play it, just because my own experience with those games personally is that they are plenty engaging moment to moment and easy to spend a lot of time on. But typically, the reason I usually avoid those types of games, and was really just checking this one out for interest, just to see it. But with those sorts of games, what I tend to find is that when I look back on my time having played the game, I feel like it was not really time well spent. It's the same reason that I cut back on all the TV that I was watching a while back, where it's one thing to say this is an entertaining enough way to spend an hour or two, and it passes the time, and I'm having an okay time in the mean. It's like I like it well enough, but I don't feel like I've accomplished anything. And and it's one thing because like other video games, will have plenty of that aspect as well of just passing time, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that necessarily. But I sort of always, I've started feeling like those sorts of activities that just pass time, I kind of want to have something else that I've gotten out of it come, at the end. Even if that's just having experienced an interesting story, for example, or discovered some interesting new mechanic, or, given me something to think about to, add new information to my brain in some way. This game is better than some as far as its genre, and it's definitely it looks good. It's visually interesting. It's got fun little characters, and they have very very basic but serviceable stories for the adventures you're going on. And so I would say if you're in the mood or in the market for some D&D themed game that you can kind of just leave running and then play with it for a little bit, and then if you want just to have a second window with some game running in the background while you work on something else, and you kind of like the idea of having, little wizards and barbarians and stuff killing monsters in the background. That's exactly what this game is for, and it is well made. And at the same time, I don't know that I'm necessarily going to play it that much more, just because it is what it is. And so if that's what you're looking for, it should be a great one. All right, so with that said, I've got to go ahead and get ready for work, so I will talk to you tomorrow for 5 more minutes.